Thank you for tuning into this episode of Rainy Days with Tabs. I wouldn't even really call it an episode because it's going to be so short. It's going to be so short. I didn't even think to, do a video portion with it. Not only because y'all not watching them, guys. I'm taking my time, to put up these videos on YouTube and nobody's clicking them. I'm going to stop. I'm going to get off my soapbox. But it also takes a lot of work to record and do the video portion. I'm not even going to get into that. But I just wanted to do a quick 6-month update. It is officially June 24th of 2022. 6 months have passed and I cannot believe it. Well, technically it'll be 6 months have passed come July, but you get me. I am currently in the 6th month and I'm super blessed. If you're listening, I'm super blessed to have you as a listener, and I'm super happy that you're alive to even listen to this, and you probably went through a whole array of things throughout these past 6 months. But I am hoping that the time that we spend together tonight, or today, whatever time you're listening to this, that you will learn something from what I've learned, and or you'll be able to apply what you've learned. Because if this past couple of 6 months have taught you what you know now, imagine what the remainder of the year will teach you. And we just don't want to have to repeat cycles or just repeat certain circumstances that, we could have learned from if we just took some time to just have some introspection and just kind of review our lives. And so these are 5 things that I learned, and I'm going to share them with you now. So the first is to remember that how other people treat you has more to do with them than with you. And you need to stop taking things personal. I'd have to say, I did not learn that on my own, but instead I learned that because I read The 4 Agreements. If you haven't heard about that book, I suggest you read it. It really changed my outlook on how personal I take things. And I really just feel like everyone in the world should read this book, because it would really just change how the world works and just how people treat each other. But I guess it really doesn't matter if people read it if they don't apply it, which is something that I've been doing. I've been applying what I've read. And one of the agreements is not to assume. And that has really helped me to just kind of divert from certain conflicts, because I'm okay, well, this has nothing to do with me. This is all you, right? The other day I called customer service because I needed something, and the woman was not helpful, right? But I basically said, that's funny because these people told me I can call you because you'd be able to help me, but it doesn't seem like you can. And she hung up on me. And I was just wait, what did I say that was rude? And I had to think back and did I say something that was rude? And I was no, I was just really no, but it doesn't seem like you can help me. And all I needed her to say was just I don't know. Maybe I was just out of pocket about that. But whatever. I felt she even got on the phone crazy, but I didn't take that personal, even her hanging up on me, I could have been that person to call back. If I had remembered her name, I'd have been I'm sorry, I spoke to a representative and she hung up on the phone on me. This is not indicative of how your company runs. I would like to speak to a manager to gain assistance the closest assistant, the fastest assistance. And I'm Tabitha, this has nothing to do with you. Whatever that lady is dealing with, that is her business and her business only. And when you make it your business, you done lost. You done lost your power. You lost, just your well-being, more specifically. And you can't be taking things personal. So that's what I have to say about that. Remember that how other people treat you has more to do with them than with you. And the moment you learn that, the moment you not only learn it, but you accept it and you start acting on that, and you don't take things personal, you're just gonna fly by your day. because you're going to just be unscathed and unmoved, because I'm not going to feel any kind of way until you tell me that whatever issue you have is specifically with me, and that we can deal with it accordingly. Other than that, your issue is your issue. It's not mine, and I'm not going to take that burden on me. Okay? The second thing is to remain yourself even when no one is watching. Someone is always watching. This is like a really quick and simple story, but I went to like Earl of Sandwich. I was in Tampa at the time. I love Earl of Sandwich. Earl of Sandwich is so good. And the lady basically like, let me try to make this short. To shorten it up, there were women sitting outside waiting for their orders. The woman had called, the cashier had called their names, but of course they could not hear because they were sitting outside. And so I went and basically was like, hey, is your name so-and-so? Well, the woman just said that your order is ready. These women walked into the door, did not say thank you, did not say nothing. And a part of me wanted to be upset about it, but I was like, once again, whatever they got going on has nothing to do with me. If these women have issues, it's within themselves, because there's no reason you should be rude, you know, or like just not grateful. So I'm like, that's your issue, right? And the woman tells me like, wow, like, so at this point in time, now it's my time to receive my sandwich. And she says, mind you, I didn't even think she noticed that I went outside to tell them. Anyway, she says like, that was really kind of you. Like, that was really, really nice of you. And I was like, oh, in my head, I'm like, I didn't even know she was watching. But she was, because guess what? Somebody is always watching. And so you remain true to yourself, because that is what's going to matter at the end of the day. The third thing is I learned that I desired a relationship, not like a platonic one, of course. I desired a relationship because I felt like I needed to keep up, but not because I really wanted it. And that was a really big deal for me, because this whole time, not this whole time, but like, I guess I can say like the past 6 months, I was like, dang, like I need to like get in a relationship. Something needs to happen. And then I don't know how it happened or like what was the turning point for me. But at some point in time, I realized like, Tab, you don't really want a relationship for you. You want it because everyone else around you is in one. And so you feel like you're not sufficient. You feel like something's wrong with you. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with me. Have you seen me? I'm joking. I'm not joking. But like, there's nothing wrong with me. So it's okay that everyone else is in this particular season and I'm not. And I cannot rush that. So one of the things I learned that was really important to me, and something that is super personal, but I want to share because everyone is dealing with something of this sort. But we always talk about like generational curses. We always talk about how it's important to just break those generational curses. And whenever we speak about them, they're so general. Like you don't really think about like, you like have in your mind like what they might be. And most of the time it's poverty related, but you don't ever think about how generational curses can really just be about relationships. I was with my grandmother at her doctor's appointment, and she was talking to me, and she was basically sharing her heart. And something that she said was like, my grandmother has 8 children. So she has 4 women, 4 men. And she was basically saying that all of my men have had the opportunity to find wives and to find, you know, to create these lives for themselves. But my girls don't have yo pas chance. Yo pas chance in English. Sorry, it sounded better when I said it that way. Like in Creole, it sounded better. But they didn't have a chance. Like basically, like they don't have the opportunity to get the same type of experience that my sons get in terms of being in long-lasting relationships. And I remember just sitting there like about to cry, because it was the first time that like, okay, I know that, you know, there's a generational curse here that I have to break, but I didn't know that that was the one that I had to break. That's a big deal. I don't think y'all get it. Like, I don't think you get it. Like, it's one thing to know there's a generational curse. It's another to like actually be able to like specifically point it out and know that you are the one that has to break that. You know, being the oldest on my maternal grandmother's side, of the cousins, well, my brother's the oldest, but the oldest female, that is truly my generational curse to break. And it has made me so particular. It has made me so careful. And it's even reaffirmed how sure I was of the fact that I was really just seeking a relationship for others and not for myself, and how I really want to be intentional about that in the next season of my life. And so that was a really big deal for me. And I hope you guys can like take the time and like sit down and think about like, and actually have conversations with your family members, you know, about those specific generational curses that need to be broken. Like not the general ones. Oh, I'm going to be the first. No. It's not enough to know that you need to break one. You need to know exactly what it is so that when you are making moves and when you are moving in your life in particular directions, that you're conscious of that. And so imagine me getting into a relationship prematurely because I just wanted to be held, or I just wanted to fit in, or I just wanted to not feel ostracized or like an outsider, or like there was something wrong with me just for the sake of it, and not realizing like, no, girl, like this actually weighs really heavily on how those behind you will interpret relationships and how they will carry those relationships. And so, yeah, y'all, that was a big thing for me. The fourth thing would be that you should communicate the way you expect to be communicated to. That is such a big deal because we be throwing out expectations and we don't be giving them. Like we don't do what we expect, and we're just literally going in a circle of just what's the word? I don't know what the word is. I don't know. Like I'm thinking like whatever the word would be for like you're not getting what you want, and so you're like sad about it, but I can't come up with the word. Help me, Jesus. I can't come up with the word. But basically, like you're let down every single time because you're not even giving out what you expect. And so I would just say like, please, like we are adults. When you are an adult, you communicate as such. When you were a child, you reason like a child. I gotta find that Bible verse that says like when you were a child, you did things like a child. But now that you're an adult, you need to reason like an adult. You need to act like an adult. You need to act like how you would want to be perceived, right? And you need to like, you know, like the person should perceive you how you want them to perceive you. I don't know, y'all. You know what I'm saying. Just communicate the way you expect to be communicated to. Nothing less of that. So that like there's a precedent there, like there's a standard. And if that person does not meet that standard, it's easy for them to see where they fall short because you've done that. But if you expect them to act a particular way or communicate a particular way and you're not even doing that, then you're a hypocrite. That's all. Or, because that was a little rough. Or you need to figure out how you could better communicate. And you need to figure out where your shortcomings are so that you can be a better communicator. Because you're going to be going in circles for no reason. Lastly, on my episode of 20 Questions with Tabs with Whitney. Hey, Whitney. He asked me if I viewed Rainy Days as a ministry, and I felt like without hesitation said no. And I remember like watching like a short clip of B. Simone. She has a podcast too, basically saying like somebody said to her, or maybe it was her co-host, that they said like, that their podcast wasn't a ministry. And they were like, why not? Like people like send me messages all the time, like saying how much like my message has changed their life. And I was like, whoa, I missed the mark. And I think for me, it was just like, I don't know how to like say how I feel, but I can definitely say that I view my podcast differently. And I can definitely see that it is a ministry in the sense of like it is helping people to become better versions of themselves, or at least to deal with what they're not dealing with because of my transparency. And so if it's helping you to become closer to God, then, well, that's my goal at least. I hope it would help you to become closer to God. Then I am doing my job. You know, if it's helping you to realize that no, nobody is perfect in this world. I mean, I'm definitely not perfect. I don't have a perfect hat. I am a water walking, sometimes sinking disciple. I have no problem saying that. I struggle with a lot of different things. Some things I'm ready to talk about, some things I'm not ready to talk about. And that's on the real, but it doesn't mean the struggle is not there. But I just want you guys to know, like, I really wasn't focusing on the idea that it's a ministry. I was just focusing on the idea that it's helping people. Sometimes, like, when you have like that idea, like, oh, it's a ministry, like, you miss out on just like being human and being yourself and being authentic. And I don't know if I just have correlated that negatively or whatever the case may be, but otherwise, those are the things I've learned. I'm sure I've learned so many other things, and they'll come up, at the end of the year when I'm doing my end of the year episode. You guys really like that. You guys really like that episode. I don't know why. But I can't wait to share, other things that have happened throughout this year, throughout the past 6 months, and what will happen next. I want you guys to stay blessed. Stay loved, stay used by the Holy Spirit, used by God to do his work in this earth. Do not be discouraged. Do not be dismayed. The Lord your God stands with you. He stands to fight for you and fight on your behalf. I pray that your family is safe and protected. I pray that you guys go into the next 6 months just feeling rejuvenated and feeling revived. One verse that I like to share, and it actually came up today and I love it. It is actually Acts chapter 9 verse 18, the NLT version. And it says, instantly, something like scales fell from Saul's eyes and he regained his sight. Then he got up and was baptized. I pray that all the scales of your life, like things that you didn't even realize, like, man, I'm dealing with this. And it's kind of been a scale that it's removed so you can see your life more clearly and you can make decisions based off of your new sight. Your new sight. Okay. And not based off of the scales that were on there. If you don't know Saul's story, so Saul turned into Paul. Paul wrote a majority of the books in the Bible now, and it's crazy because just such a life, he just had such a life transforming experience with God. And I just pray that the next 6 months will be just that. Please take the time to do some introspection, write down some things that you've learned this year. Well, the last 6 months that you don't want to go into the next 6 months repeating. I pray that the scales from your eyes will be removed and that you will regain your sight. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. It does not rain always, but it's raining today. Please go stand in the rain.